The wisdom that is present as your life right now, not in the future, not down the road, is guiding you. And we make space for it. And we write whatever that word or phrase is on these white stones. And we have them to hold on to for the year. If you guys know It's a Wonderful Life, you know how he has Zuzu's petals in his pocket, and they become a touchstone for him throughout the story, like, where are Zuzu's petals? The white stone is a touchstone for us throughout the year. And we've named something. So I clearly heard motherhood. I also heard prosperity, because I have this weird thing in my head that if I'm going to be a mother, I'm not going to be prosperous. Because I can't work as much, right? So I have this weird sort of like wiring. So my white stone is prosperous motherhood. Because we get to choose. We get to choose. I could choose to be a suffering, unprosperous mother. Why would I want to choose that again? We get to become awake and aware. So I caught something, right? I caught a belief system that was intertwined in a certain way. And the minute I caught it, I get to say, oh, I want to make a different choice. I'm choosing something new. And so the claiming part is what we're going to do today. So the claiming part is the letters that we write. The letters that we write. They're called letters to God. Ken and I had this really interesting back and forth about this, right? So we call them letters to God. And I was like, well, they should really be called letters from God. Amen. Because we're the ones writing them. And we here in Unity believe that we are the divinity. We are the thing itself. So as we step into this process of writing these letters, we are writing from the divine understanding of what is possible for our life. And we are writing about it as if it is already done. Because that's what we believe in this teaching. That when we stand in something and we name it and we claim it, that it actually becomes active in our life. So the image that came to mind for me, I'm such a sci-fi geek, I totally have to admit it, is Star Trek, right? This whole idea of adventure and exploration and moving out into the unknown. That's what we're here to do in consciousness. In consciousness, we are invited continually to step beyond what it is that we think we already know, to boldly go where we have not gone before. And the whole ritual that we're going to engage in today is an opportunity for us to do just that. To be bold, to be brave, listening. Not just picking stuff out of it's not a head thing, right? It's not our mind deciding what the year is going to be about. It is about that inner wisdom that is allowing ourselves to touch something. So Chris and we got our letters from, so for those of you who don't know what we're doing, you're going to write this letter from yourself to yourself. You're going to address it to yourself in an envelope, seal it. You're going to give it to us. We hold on to it and pray it up all year long. And then we mail it back to you, usually right around Thanksgiving. And then you get to see what you claimed and what has happened in your life. So I was really nervous about opening my letter this year because our child has not appeared. In 2016, the child hasn't appeared. And I was like, I don't want to open my letter because the letter is going to be all about motherhood and the child, and I don't want to read that letter. And I finally got brave, and I read the letter. And guess what? I didn't even mention the child in the letter. Isn't that interesting? I've spent the whole year being focused. I mean, we've had to leap through all these hoops. You guys have been following our process as we're foster adopting, concurrent planning. We have been in process for about a year and a half of stepping through all the hoops that we need to step through. It is a priority. It is something I have been living into. It is something I've actually actively been doing for an entire year, appointments with social workers. It's not something that hasn't been happening, and yet in my letter, which I didn't write from my mind, but I wrote from my heart, it didn't even come up. Because on some level, my inner wisdom knew that that was not what 2016 was actually going to be about. All the letter was about my ministry. It was about growing my ministry. It was about being more present. And look what happened in that regard. I'm an assistant here now, right? I got my LUT license. I'm stepping into the field licensing program. I mean, all of those things. So, can you hear where I'm speaking from? Your mind may have an idea about what you think the coming year is about. I'm going to offer you the opportunity to let go of what your mind thinks is coming and to allow yourself to just listen in this moment, in this room, as to what is arising for you. So sticking with the space thing, how many people in here have seen Hidden Figures yet? Anybody seen it yet? Okay. I will admit, I have not seen it yet, but I so want to see this film. It's one of those movies that just totally grabbed me, like, I don't know, it's the kind of movie that I think like my kids are going to want to, I'm going to want to own it so I can show it to my kids. So the picture, when it comes back on, is, when it reappears again, Taraji Henson is playing Katherine Johnson, who was a computer. I love that, right? She was a computer for NASA. And there was a whole slew of black and white women who were computers. And they were people who ran all these numbers. And she was, as you can see from the picture, I love the picture because it's so clear that this is not, like, she is something else in that world. Right? She's something else in that world. And she has to prove herself. So first she had to name something. She had to name the fact that she is a computer, that she has that capacity, that the math, that is part of who she is. And then she had to claim it. And she has to continually claim it throughout the film. She has to claim it over and over and over again. She wants to get into that meeting. And they say, women in this meeting, there's no precedent for that. And she said, there's no precedent for a man on the moon. So, and she gets into the meeting. And John Glenn, at one point, it's in the film, but it is a true story actually, he refused to do something until the girl, we're going to call her by her name, Katherine Johnson, ran the numbers. He didn't trust anybody else to run the numbers except for her. So there was an interview in the LA Times, and they interviewed the real Katherine Johnson. This is her. They interviewed her, and she was talking, they asked her this wonderful question, who else should we do a movie about? Who else do you know that we should do a movie about? And she mentions this woman, Christine Darden. So Christine Darden came into NASA a couple of years after the film ends. She came into the system afterwards, and she too was a computer. And what she noticed as a computer, so as a computer, you didn't get acknowledged for your work. Your names were not on any of the papers. Anything that you worked on, you were not connected to. Only the engineers had their names written on papers. Papers, for those of you who don't know, publishing is the way you get promoted. So basically, these computers were dead-end jobs. They didn't go anywhere. She went to her boss and said, verbatim, why are all of us computers stuck in these dead-end jobs? And he looked at her and he said, wow, nobody bothered to complain before. Yeah. And they moved her right over into the engineering track, and she became the first black senior executive at NASA. First black woman senior executive at NASA. Naming and claiming. She had to activate something. So there's this idea sometimes with the letter writing, that this magical thinking, like, whatever I write on the letter, and it's just going to come true. And that's how it works. You have to activate it within yourself. You have to actually act on it. So she knew, she named it, she knew she had computational skills. She knew that she had more to offer. She knew that she wanted to move up in the field. And she then had to speak up. She had to activate it. So the letter is one step of your speaking up. It is one step in your actually putting it into time and space. And then there's all the other things you're going to need to do. Whatever those are for you. So, naming and claiming. Eric Butterworth says, God can only work for you to the degree that God can work through you. So this isn't like a free ride. I call it activating your good. You have to activate your good. You have to speak up. You have to step out. We're back to that boldly go where you have never gone before. I think about her, Christine Darden, I think about her stepping in to that office and saying, why am I in a dead-end job? Like the bravery that took. The strength and conviction that took. And as she stood in that, change happened. What I also love about that story is what you can see too is evolving consciousness. So we had that first generation of women who are just thrilled to actually be able to do science. Who are thrilled to actually be able to do the thing they love to do. And then the next generation is building on that and saying, not only do we get to do it, but then we also get to put our names on it and we get to move and have promotions through it. So metaphysically, that's what happens within us. Wherever we start off in our consciousness to begin to engage with something is a great place to start off and begin to engage it. And it's not easy, right? You know, in Hidden Figures, the journey is not a simple, easy journey. And yet, with all that they accomplished, there's always more. And the next generation stood in that. So where is your next generation? Where is the thing, and isn't that funny, there's also a Star Trek, The Next Generation. Such a sci-fi geek, I can't help myself. But what is your next generation? What is the thing that you know that has always been speaking to you, that you are invited to stand in more deeply, more powerfully? Maybe it's something completely new. Maybe it's something you never even heard before. I have another quote here. This is from Ernest Holmes, because a lot of you know that I come out of the Science of Mind tradition at Agape, but expect the good. I love that, right? Marianne Williamson says, expect the miracle. Expect the good. We should expect the best, and so live that the best may become a part of our experience. Live so that the best can become a part of our experience. We have to create that. We have to engage that. And the way it starts is through this naming and claiming and the writing of our letters. Whatever I write, I am calling myself to become. Everybody say that.
Whatever I write, I'm calling myself to become.
There's no magical thinking here. There's no, like, I'm writing a petitionary something to some deity up in the sky. Whatever I write, I am calling myself to become. So we're going to dive in. We're going to dive into this process. Anyone here not here for Whitestone last week? Quite a few people. All right, Robert, can you pass these out? We're going to do an abbreviated Whitestone, and then we'll go right into the letter writing. So that everyone can kind of be on the same page. So the Whitestone will be a word, a phrase that is sort of your word for the year. You can think about it as being maybe a theme for the year. Right? The overarching something that you're going to use in your life. So for me, and it can be more than one word, like mine was prosperous motherhood. Right, be creative in how you link things together. So we'll do a really short Whitestone where you'll get a chance to jot something down. If you did do Whitestone already, throw it open, right? You never know what else you might hear. And then we're going to move from that into the letter writing process. So the letter, everyone have a folder? These are the logistics parts. This is the logistics part, you guys. Everyone have a folder? If you don't have a folder, raise your hand. Folks will come around trying to get you one. So in the folder, there's a piece of paper with, isn't our new letterhead awesome?
Yes, thank you.
Year of abundance. And an envelope. So the letter is you, the divine, writing to you, the human. Make sense?
Yes.
Right? The divinity that you are, writing to the you, that is the human that you are, about all and how amazing your year was. I was here. I was here. I did, I've done. What did you do? What got done? And then once you finish writing your letter, the envelope that's in there, you're going to write your address. What address are you going to write on here?
My address.
Okay, don't write our address. Write your address and then seal it up for yourself. Okay? Questions? Okay. Everyone have a white stone who needs one? Alright. So what I'm going to invite you to do right now, as our musicians are going to lead us into our meditation music, is I'm going to invite you to just put whatever you have in your hands, put it to the side. Again, this isn't a mental exercise. This is a heart-based, spirit-based, presence-based, wisdom-based process. You'll have plenty of time to write, I promise.